Oh. And we're back with some conventional aliens. Standard issue. Nothing out of the ordinary.
I see. I was hoping for some of the weird ones, personally. The real fucked up aliens.
I mean, in terms of space aliens, aren't like all of them likely to be fucked up?
I don't know how you'd evaluate that.
Think about how weirdly anthropocentric it would be of us to assume that any other kind of life anywhere else in the cosmos might be even remotely familiar to us.
Does that make them fucked up?
I think by definition. If there's nothing familiar about it. Right? I mean, you could make some like broad stroke things like, oh, life in general will tend to be like, macro life will tend to look like this or this. But even then, like, it feels weird to generalize from a sample size of like 1.
Yeah, it just seems tough to generalize over the rest from a sample size of 0, given that we haven't seen any.
I'm just saying, like, from like the possibility space, it's more like it's more likely that it would be non-familiar than familiar, right? Is that wrong? I'm pretty sure I'm right about that.
I don't know.
Argue with me in the comments. You should do that on every episode, but in this one in particular, make sure you do it. And while you're there, hook a duck.
Ducky every time.
Lucky ducky. Prize every time. Ducky every time. I like that better. All right. We arrive at the convention and lug our supplies to the main room where all the booths are set up. Since Cassie's selling, she has a special badge that lets us cut past most of the lines. And to my surprise, there are plenty of those. Apparently, aliens are more popular than I thought, because there are at least a few hundred people milling around the convention area. Marina is paying more attention to the phone in her hands.
I can't get a signal at all in here. I want to let Tess know that we're here.
She holds her phone up high in case the frequency she's looking for is right over her head. What's the frequency, Marina?
I don't know. I don't know that much about cell phone technology.
Also, it's in character that Amber would make a classic rock joke, right? And dad jokes. This is absolutely in character for Amber without embellishment.
Is REM classic rock now?
I think so. They're in that weird kind of era that's kind of, I think that's getting grandfathered into classic rock. Now, it's not like classic rock, but it's the kind that's played on classic rock radio. If that makes sense.
That's fucked up.
A little bit. There are numbers taped to the floor every few feet, marking each vendor's space. Cassie leads us to spot number 33 towards the wall near one of the exits. There's a plain folding table with a canopy provided, not much else.
This is us. Home sweet home.
Oh my god, is she wearing jeans everything?
Yes.
Oh my god, she's Chiaki!
Yes, I'm wearing my jout fit.
Your jout fit? With your jert? And your other jert? And your jocks?
My jams.
And your jutes? Oh, and you got the Joe in your hair as well. 100% jean outfit.
Gotta love the Canadian tuxedo.
We gotta pay attention to make sure she doesn't get like one beefy arm. Marina and I set the bags and boxes we're carrying onto the floor while Cassie starts to set up a few folding chairs.
Booth budget is basically 0, which means it's just these and some decorations. Can you two sort out the goods?
On it! Aside from the tweets. Aside from the tweets we made, well, Marina made, I don't tweet. Aside from the treats we made, there are also other baked goods like cookies and brownies, plus there's a variety of homemade candy, which all looks a lot more appealing than the stuff at Sweet Tooth. Marina and I organize them all on the table, while Cassie clips the decorations she made onto the support bowls. Once everything is said and done, it looks not that great if I'm being honest. It's pretty clear that it was mostly a one-woman show, but there's charm to it. And it's not as if there's very stiff competition here either. Most of the other booths selling food, even the biggest ones, look a little plain and uninspiring. Cassie checks and rechecks the stuff for sale, rearranging the layout while talking under her breath.
And put these here so they're up front, cover up these guys who didn't turn out so well.
She moves some of the cookies around so that the prettier ones are in front and the few that have gotten crumbly around the edges are hidden.
Okay, now these here or here?
There's a bowl of free samples and she slides it from corner to corner trying to find the perfect spot. As someone who set up a few con booths in my day, yeah, I get it. Never something I was doing, but I've helped out with a couple of different people at different kinds of conventions, and yeah, I get it. Although the pro ones who've been there for already have like their layout and know where everything goes all like from the moment they get there, and they're like, nope, that goes there. This is that part of that table, and I'm like, okay, fine, jeez. I think about offering to help, but I decide against it. I'm pretty sure she just needs something to fuss over to distract herself. Even though Marina and I are just tagging along, I have to remind myself that this is a big deal for Cassie. Marina and I leave her to her last-minute preparations while we lean against the wall behind us. Any luck with Tess?
Nope, I still can't get through. I might have to go outside to get reception.
You should just tell her where we are and have her come find us.
What if they don't get here for a while? You weren't planning to spend the whole time at Cassie's booth, were you?
Dunno. Hadn't really thought about it. I figured I'd just follow you.
Is there anything that you want to see while you're here?
You. Your face. Those bits on your face. You know what? Come to think of it, now that I've said it all out like this, we could just leave your face here and let you do not really. To me, this kind of hokey tourist stuff is the same no matter where you go. Stick something in a shiny enough package and you can get people to buy anything.
You really don't care, do you?
Sure I do. That's why we're here, but I'm not going to pretend I'm more excited for it than I am. More than anything, I wish that Marina would stop bringing it up. She and I both know that this isn't the kind of thing I enjoy, but I came anyway. Why isn't that enough for her? Every time I try to do something for her, it seems to go badly, or maybe it's just never enough. Marina checks her phone again, scowls, then sighs.
Sorry, maybe I'm just stressed about Tess.
Wait. Test.
We can come back to that one.
Stest.
I don't want her to think that I'm ignoring her on her birthday.
You know what? Those words are too similar. I don't think they can portmanteau together.
It's kind of screwed up how that is, isn't it?
Yeah, like if they're similar enough, then it works really well. But if they're too similar, then you can't get it to work at all.
Yeah, that's Lovecraftian.
I don't know if that's Lovecraftian. What does that even mean? Mildly horrific, pretty racist? I mean, have you read Lovecraft? I don't recommend it. I'm sure she'll know. Besides, won't her signal be just as bad as yours?
I guess.
Just then the PA booms and a voice announces through the speakers that the convention is officially open for business. Immediately, people start to trickle into the vendors area. Not a flood by any means, but a consistent crowd. Cassie finally joins us, drumming her fingers against her legs.
Well, here goes everything.
I'm sure it'll go fine. Everything looks really good.
I just hope it's enough.
The first couple customers walk right past our booth without stopping or even looking over. Cassie watches them go. Most people pass right by without even stopping. A couple folks browse, but nobody buys anything. Our first sales to a kid who buys a single lollipop for $1. Cassie very carefully tucks the bill away into a portable cash box that she brought with her.
Hopefully most people use a credit card, because I only have $50 in change.
I'd loan you some of ours, but most of it is in nugget form. Nugget. She laughs.
Hey, not that I'm trying to get rid of you, but you guys don't have to stick around. I don't want to keep you from having fun.
Since Marina's listening, I keep myself from saying anything snarky. There, do you want to go try to find somewhere with better service?
Sure.
I don't want her to miss out on seeing Tess just because she's too stubborn to go alone. Marina can't text her friend because there's no signal here, so we'll go message her, then maybe we'll walk around a bit. We'll come back, though.
Sure, I'll be here. Have fun.
All right. Take care of your jerk. Marina and I leave the booth hand in hand. For once, she puts her phone away. Let's go out front. You'll probably have better luck there.
We should look around some, too.
Fine by me. There's a steady stream of people filtering into the convention area now. Of course, it's hard to say if they'd even be here even without it. Lots of them look lost or confused by the decorations. Occasionally, we pass by small exhibits featuring photographs of real UFOs or artist recreations of what aliens might look like.
Amber, do you think we'll see any of the really fucked up aliens?
Boy,
or just the normal ones?
Well, didn't we have this conversation? I'm pretty sure most aliens are fucked up.
No, I think that was our narrators.
Oh, okay. How do you know about the narrators?
I know, right?
That seems fucked up to me. That you would know about the narrators? Why would... How do I know about the narrators? Oh, God. Anyway, to answer your question, I really hope that the aliens they have are fucked up.
Okay, me too.
Especially like some of the ones I read about in scientific papers. There was lots of biology going on, that's for sure.
I see.
I wish everyone could see the series of faces I went through trying to come up with that euphemism. Some of the photos are plain-looking people, along with their written testimonials about being abducted and taken aboard spaceships. In other words, a bunch of crap.
Oh, Amber, check this one out. She says that she got abducted and she fell in love with one of the aliens who captured her. And now he sends her letters from space. Isn't that romantic?
Then again, I guess there's plenty of people who would buy into this schmuck. Stratosphere. Free blackjack lessons daily. Wait, free blackjack lessons? Why? Oh, so you can... Because you can't take people's money if they don't know how to play it.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Once Marina's done looking around, we finally make it back outside and lean against the wall where it's nice and shady. Is that... Did you see her fidget? Is that any better?
Barely. I've only got one bar. I guess that's good enough.
She types out her message and glares at her phone. After a moment, she angrily taps it.
It doesn't want to send.
I thought you had a bar. I could use a bar right now.
Sometimes a bar isn't enough, like now.
If it's useless, then why is it here? Why not just make it 0 bars?
Not now, Amber.
I'm just asking. Just asking questions. Trying to put stuff out into the marketplace of ideas.
Trying to have a respectful discussion. Calm, reasonable discussion of the issues.
Amber the sea lion, I hate this. After a long moment, she finally sighs with relief.
Okay, it finally went through.
Okay, now what?
Now we wait for her to text me back.
I wish we could wait inside. At least Marina has her phone to keep her occupied while the time passes. I just watch the people going in and out of the casino, thinking about how I'd rather be somewhere else. After a few minutes of silence, my patience is running out. Still nothing?
No, doesn't even look like she's read my message.
Maybe her phone's dead or not with her.
Yeah, maybe.
Want to head back to the booth?
Wow, that didn't take long.
We can stand around some more if you want, I guess. Marina sighs yet again.
You know what, Amber? Just go back to the booth.
There's a harsh bite to her words that takes me off guard. She immediately notices and shifts gears, her expression softening as she looks everywhere but my eyes.
I still need to find Tess a gift.
Hey, I can help you look.
It's fine. You'll have a better time with Cassie anyway. See you later. I'll come back to the booth when I'm done.
Before I can even let her know that I worry about her going off on her own, she's already walking away. She glances back once, then heads back into the building. Now it's my turn to sigh. It had to have been something I said, but what could it have been that was so much different from what I usually say? I'd like to brush it off as just her being in a bad mood, but that's so unlike her. She's Marina. She doesn't even have bad moods. At least none that I've ever seen. The sun beats down on me and my shoes feel like they're melting into the concrete. I feel the sweat start to seep down my cheeks. When did things get so hard? Just get on out of here. Take yourself and scoot on out. Shoot, go on.
Not like my sister would want any of your junk anyway.
Good.
These aliens are all normal.
Good.
Where do you keep the fucked up ones?
Why does everyone come in asking for fucked up aliens? I only have normal little green man. We do have some of the grays for your classics out there, but your patronage is not appreciated. It's no good, and neither is your money.
Well, your inventory ain't appreciated either. Where'd you dig it all out of? A dumpster?
That's right. Same one you crawled out from.
I'll kick your ass.
Security? Security?
No. I'll leave.
Mariah coughed the words under her breath.
Junk peddler.
The vendor hurled a neon green Buddha statue at her, elongated snail antennas replacing its eyes, and his usual peace sign instead of that of the Vulcan variety. It whooshed past her head, cracking into a pillar behind her.
Jesus.
No, that's the Buddha. Or it was. It's pretty fucked up now. That was enough to convince Mariah to retreat, at least for now. She turned tail and sprinted down an alley tightly packed with other vendors and booths. Wrong daddy, and don't come back.
Of course it went there.
Of course it. I mean, they set themselves up for that joke. I should have known. God, I still can't believe this is just the outfit she wears.
Yeah. Really inconvenient.
She reminds me of that one Digimon character.
What?
I can't remember her name. But I showed you when I was playing through Cyber Sleuth.
Yeah.
Her was just like, she wears a normal outfit, but then for some reason has her jacket completely unzipped in this diamond shaped around her chest, zipped up at the top and zipped up around her stomach, but has to have the diamond open in the chest area for no discernible reason other than to show off her well then. As Mariah was dodging in and out of congested crowds and shoving strollers out of her way, she considered, only for a moment, that this was the karma Joe had tried warning her about. Of course, admitting that would also be admitting that Slacker was right, and she wasn't about to give him the dignity. There was one thing he had been right about, though, something that even Mariah, still stumbling around in the fog of her morning hangover, could see. The squirt was sad. Yeah, all kids get sad and broody. Fact of life and all that jazz. Give the little turds a soda and some Skittles and they'll bounce back just fine. But the way Mariah saw it, there were different types of sadness. Some that were different enough to transcend the three-letter word that represented it. She had never figured out a word to describe the transcendence, and if there was one, it was too long for her to care to learn it. But she had seen it in action before. She had seen it down by the river, where Joe would mope and stare at the water for hours before holing himself up in his room for days. She had seen it belching out of steel chimneys on the horizon during the days she ditched school, enveloping the whole town in gray clouds and making the flat plains of Missouri feel like a snow globe. And she had felt it when watching the neighbor's cable, the blue glow from the garage sale CRT lighting up her face as she cranked up the volume to drown out the noises her old lady and whatever uncle she had brought home that week were making. Whatever this was, that feeling that would poke at Mariah whenever she was forced to stare down at the spout of an empty bottle, and that now seemed to be stabbing her kid sister. She hated it. It was like a virus, spreading, cyclical, now trying to sink its teeth into Tess. Trying. Mariah Pastorius, the terror of the Southwest, badass treasure hunter, and the true winner of the race to find the miner's gold, was not about to let this thing take a bite out of her sister. Not yet.
There's gotta be something around here.
Trying to club depression with a baseball bat. In a way, Tessa's birthday felt like a deadline. She could just find one thing to give her, something that would make the twerp smile. Well, she might be able to beat this thing off for just a little while longer. She took a gander at the rainbow of tarps on both sides of her that trapped her in the aisle. Turns out the swap meet was only a quarter of the story and was just being sandwiched between the overly expensive food stalls and new age soccer moms trying to sell their craft jewelry. There hadn't been a single good find all day. How could there be? That cheapskate Joe, he had only given her $20 to work with. Should have just given her his cut. She would have made better use of it. She passed a popcorn vendor and nabbed a handful of kettle corn out of the little boy's bag. Mouth wide open as she chewed, she pointed at every booth that looked like a waste of time.
Trash, garbage, crap, hot garbage, junk.
Which one's the hot garbage? This one? On the right? That one is pretty hot garbage. None of this was good enough for her sister. Hell, none of it was even very good. She swallowed as she made eye contact with a thin vendor that had a pencil-y mustache. He was selling rose-themed decor. Mariah stopped at his table.
I've seen better hauls at estate sales after old-timers croak on the toilet.
Mariah went on her way. This is just how she interacts with people. She just walks up to someone who's trying to sell some stuff to make a buck, and she's like, I could shit out better wares in my sleep. And then moves on. And they're just like, what? I feel like I just got drive-by'd. She was just about ready to answer the call of the casino. Maybe take advantage of those complimentary drinks those chicks in the tight slacks were serving. Oh, it's what a high-rolling Vegas fat cat like her would deserve, after all. But then she saw it. The only thing special enough to make her head snap back and stop. A license plate nailed to the top of a wooden display. Kansas, JC saves. Sunflower
Wow.
stick. JC saves, passes to Moses. Score! No? Not feeling that one. Nothing particularly special to Mariah. She saw them on the road every day and often used them fraudulently depending on which county they were in and if they had a warrant out for her. But to Tess, these rectangular wonders were treasures. But what would make this license plate special to Tess was the sunflower slapped in the middle of it, shining through the black text like a sunbeam. It was perfect for her. Her flat eyes got slightly less flat when they passed fields of them growing on the side of the road. Sunflower wallpapers, sunflower seeds at gas stations. It was the only thing the kids seemed to identify with more than the red, white, and blue itself. State in question, faraway land of Kansas, a place so foreign to Mariah that she often doubted the legitimacy of its existence. I mean, that's true. Have you ever been to Kansas?
No.
I haven't been to Kansas either. Neither of us can vouch for Kansas. If you can vouch for Kansas, please fill out this CAPTCHA. And then we'll see. Now, Mariah wasn't an expert on the geographical makeup of the United States. I hope she is. She drives through... Okay. Or most things, really. But she had bonked her head on enough of Tess's wind chimes to know which ones she did and didn't own. And Kansas was one of the several missing. Mariah marched over to the booth until she was close enough to smell the sticks of burning incense wafting from it.
Hey.
She called into the booth. It was bigger than the others, the tarp bleeding into the row behind it. The inside had an assortment of rugs and tapestries draped around the knickknacks on display. Looked like a shop that had been standing in the same bazaar for generations and would be there for even longer.
I said, hey.
What a wonderful kind of day. Wow! Wow!
Okay, so now that you've developed precognition...
Yeah.
Tell me tomorrow's stock prices real quick.
I can't see the stock prices. However, I can see one very important thing.
Oh, yeah,
so
what?
Everyone that hears about my precognition is going to go down to beneath this video and hit the like button, leave a comment, and subscribe if they haven't already.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, I can see it.
That would be amazing.
I can see the future right now.
Damn.
Standing up from behind a stack of boxes, a man with a vape pen dangling from his mouth coughed out a greeting to Mariah. Sorry for the delay in service, sister. Still unpacking some artifacts, it would seem. Mariah's nose wrinkled. She squinted into the man's retro sunglasses, but couldn't make out anything past the frames.
Alright, freak. How much for the license plate?
Selling a license plate? Where'd you see one of them things? The man craned his head out from the booth and looked up. His curly hair bobbed at the slightest movement. Oh, I guess I am. Mariah dug out her $20, ready to cough it over and get her change, but the vendor shooed it away. Nah, I'm afraid that's not how things roll here, sister.
Who doesn't like cash? You some kind of commie?
He folded his hand and pointed both index fingers up. Read the signs from above. She looked up and did her best to sound out the words carved into the wooden sign in floppy bubble letters.
Silent auction. Silent auction? What the hell is that?
Signs, plural. She looked up again, this time at another sign tacked onto the bottom of the first. Shh.
Oh. I don't get it.
Sis, you know how to hold a pen, right?
I haven't done that in a while, but I probably still do.
And you know how to use it?
Skating on thin ice, buddy.
Lake ain't that deep, because it's all you need. He slid out a sheet of paper from beneath the table and popped a pen and taped to a hawk feather right alongside it. Write down how much you think it's worth. Get it? The cogwheels in Mariah's head turned and rattled. She looked at the rows on the paper, a column for bids and a column for notes. Still took several more seconds before she got it.
So, some leech could swing by once I leave and outbid me?
But ain't that how auctions work? Mariah was immediately suspicious. Anything that couldn't be claimed as her own through will or skill was a scam as far as she was concerned. And with only $20 to her name, the quiet tug of restraint called to her. But what was restrained except the excuse of the useless pansies too afraid to act? Nothing. It didn't exist, not to Mariah. Especially not when there was the risk of Tess turning into a slug.
Fine, but if this is a farce, you're roadkill.
She held the pen in her fist like a knife and carved the starting price onto the first row. Only $1? You're killing me here, sis. She thrusted the tip of the pen at him.
If this thing is a hoax, you're gonna wish I actually did.
I hear ya. Really, he didn't. He grabbed an egg timer from the end table and wound it. The continuous ticking began. Auction time is 60 minutes. Best of luck to you.
Keep your luck and give it to any sap who tries to get in on this. They're the one who'll need it.
Mariah gave him one last scowl, then slithered away, pushing her hands deep inside the pockets of her jumpsuit. She'd be back soon. 59 minutes remained. Oh, hey, you get to narrate now.
I look back at Amber once, then head inside. She looks so confused and helpless out there all by herself. Of course she does. I just got angry and stormed off. It's mean, but there's a big part of me that's actually happy that she is. How gross is that? But at least now she can feel it too. What it's like to have no idea what the person you love is thinking. Maybe that was a little too harsh, though. Whatever. Can't focus on nasty stuff right now. Gotta find some kind of gift for Tess. No matter what happens, this is her birthday, and we need to be here for her. If only I could find a Kansas license plate, one of the ones with the sunflower on it. With how sad she's been lately, we need to find something that will perk her right up. I slip into the crowd and follow the pretty girls in costumes until I'm deep inside the vendor hall. The further I get, the more it feels like the booths and tarps are multiplying. The people too. There's enough sweat in here I feel like I could actually drown in it. This might be harder than I thought, Tess, but I'll do it. I'll do it for you. Fortunately, after treasure hunts and festivals, navigating crowds is easy peasy for me now. Amber would probably disagree if she were here, but I think I'm quite the expert at it now. Thank you very much. I'm afraid of getting distracted by chatting, so I try to avoid looking at the vendors and instead just focus on their merch. There sure is a lot of it. From adorable wooden coyote carvings to really out there art that my mom would shield my eyes from if she saw it. Amber too. But none of it screams Tess.
Wait, what kind of art would people shield her eyes? What would Amber need to shield her eyes from?
but none
Amber
of it
comes up and is like, oh, I remember those. I've seen stuff like that on certain circles.
But none of it screams Tess. There are toy vendors and stuff, but Tess isn't into stuff like that. No kid is a regular kid, but she's definitely unique. And I want to make sure we give her something that's unique.
There's an entire cupboard in the RV that is just full of Amber's doujinshi.
Thankfully, I don't have to zoom up and down the aisles for very long. I spot something that doesn't just catch my eye, it's basically yelling at me to stop. It's nailed to the tippy top of the booth. If I weren't looking, I may not even have noticed it. But all I need to do is take one look at it to know that it's made for Tess. A Kansas license plate with a sunflower. I must have it. Veering off course, I swing over to the booth. How much for the license plate? I don't mean to, but my hands slam on the table. An itty-bitty timer on it falls over.
Ah, I guess this thing really is a hot commodity.
So you have a lot in stock then. Thanks goodness. What a relief. This will make Tess positively positive.
Afraid not, Bubbles. Read the sign.
I look up at the plate again. The license number spells out JC Saves. From God?
You're my second customer of the day. Not the second coming. The other signs. Plural.
This time I look at the wooden signs. Silent auction. Oh, I know those. My school did them for fun.
Shush. Puts a finger to his lip and smiles. Even under its thick round glasses, I can tell it's a real smile. I'm so sorry. Have it.
I whisper.
Have it.
I know those.
This'll make it easy then.
He unfolds a sheet of paper and smooths it out on the table. I stare down and look at the first row. Someone's already bid on it?
Just a few minutes ago. Doesn't mean you can't, though.
Wow, talk about good timing. It must be fate. I'll do it. $1 isn't a lot. I can outbid that, no sweat. But, how will we tell who is who? There's no name on it, just their bid.
Don't you worry, a pretty little ponytail, or whatever it is. They used a black pens, you just use a purple one.
He slides a purple...
They make purple?
He slides a purple ballpoint out of his sleeve like some kind of crazy magic trick and tosses it over. Whoa, Mr. Vendor is really slick. I get it, an extra silent auction.
Yeah, that's right.
I put the tip of the pen to the paper and write down my bid. 3 United States dollaroos. Sorry, whoever you are, but there's a sad little girl who needs this a lot more than you.
Hey, all's fair in love and bidding wars. Battle ain't over yet, though.
He sets the timer right side up.
There's a little under an hour left in this here auction. When the thing rings, it's all over.
I read the timer and give him a quick nod. Okie dokie, I'll make sure to check in before that. See you soon. I try not to smile too much as I walk away. Tess is going to love this. Can't get too excited just yet, though. It's still an auction after all. You never know what could happen in 50 minutes.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Hey, freak, what the hell is this?
I'll have you know that freak's my father's name. Mariah glanced at the second row on the paper. Shush! Mariah slapped his finger away from his hushed lips.
Give it a rest. I asked you a question.
I don't know what to tell you. Answer's right there on the page.
Yeah, but there can't actually be other weirdos on this rock who collect these things. They're scrap.
One man's trash.
There's another's pain in the ass. God, what a pain in the ass.
It's just $3, not hard to beat, right?
Do I look like I fell off the money tree to you, pal?
She brought herself to look at the new bid again. It was written in purple. What a stupid color, an ugly color. In fact, it was the worst color, Mariah decided.
Conveniently ignoring the fact that she is wearing purple.
Yep. The handwriting, too. She wanted to spit on it. It was so nice and pretty and neat. And disgusting. The kind of handwriting you'd only see from a teacher's pet, a real slouch. The thing about the slouches of the world, they can't stand straight. They're closer to the ground, easier to knock down. That manic look. Someone with handwriting this compact, who twirls their threes in the middle, they must be meek. It's overcompensation, something Mariah was quite familiar with. Wouldn't be hard to intimidate them, to get them back down here and now. Took the black pen and began smashing it into the paper. 40 minutes remained.
Oh geez, this is, a little intense. I can only wince. Every row from the 3rd to the 5th has been overtaken by violent, scratchy lettering, all for just one number. 10.
10.
The bidding price has jumped from 3 to 10. Escalation.
Seems you've developed a bit of a rivalry, eh?
I didn't mean to.
Rivalry. Oh, that's such a strange word.
It's true, I didn't. But I have a feeling that this person would have been angry at anyone's bid. I try not to be a judgmental person. Everyone has their own lives and issues to go alongside them. But I know exactly the kind of person who would try to scare someone else when something doesn't go their way. A bully. There's a lot of ways to deal with bullies. Not all of them are helpful. Some of them even make matters worse. So the best thing to do is stand my ground. To let them know that no matter what, they won't have any control over me. 35 minutes left. Bastard, they're mocking me.
Seems like they're just playing by the rules of the auction to me.
You must be as blind as you are sleazy.
Smooth move. She snatched the paper off the table and shoved it in his face.
What's that look like to you?
That is the written form of $11 dues.
That's part of
American dollar dues.
it. But look closer. That is a smiley face. A smiley face. Can you believe that crap?
No, but I can believe that you can't.
Whoever did this didn't just bid $1 more to flex. They wanted to teach me a lesson.
So what are you gonna do about it, hotshot? Mariah thought about it. This was a direct attack on her pride, purposeful too. If she had to fight for what little remained of her dignity and her sister, then so be it. She would go for the jugular.
What I always do. Win.
20 minutes remained.
Excuse me, is it okay if I ask you something?
Mr. Go for it. Sorry.
Mr. Vendor takes a deep breath on his vape. The steam streams out of his mouth like a fog. Is it even a steam, really? I guess it's a vapor, but it feels kind of weird saying vape vapor. Anyway, I've never actually seen someone do it in real life before, but it kind of smells like rotten bubblegum. I don't think I like it.
Vape vapor. Ask away, Bubbles.
What's this crossed out word right here? I pick up the paper and point at it. Altogether it says... Both words have been scribbled over.
That's going for the jugular? That went for the jugular? Well, it's a message from the other bidder. Bit too profane, if you catch my drift, so I scratched it.
Profane? Wait. I gasp so loud that Mr. Vendor jumps. They didn't. That's so mean. Mean, 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 mean. I've only used that word a few times in my whole life, and I'd never use it like that. All I want to do is make my friend happy. She's been so sad lately, but when you're little like that, no one ever really cares if you are. But this person is just being a giant jerk about it, Mr. Vendor.
Now that I cannot deny, but they did raise the bet.
By 1 cent, is that even allowed?
Only if it makes things interesting, and this does seem like it is making it interesting.
It's not, though. It's just stressful. We're not even betting that much money, so why is this person taking it so seriously? Unless they don't have a lot of money? I mean, they did start the... Money. Math. Oh, wow. God, I need a screenshot and or GIF of this.
This is perfect. I feel like they really went in hard for this DLC.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm so happy they did.
I mean, they did start the bet at $1. That's not a lot. If they were a collector, they'd probably bet a way higher price to make sure no one else took it. It's like they're almost scared to go over $20, for instance. Just throwing that out there, that particular dollar amount.
Are you going to give me $20?
If Amber were here, she'd probably try to end this by throwing down 100. It would be extreme, but we have the money for it. But if I did it, she would probably just tell me that it was irresponsible. It's so easy for her to nitpick me, but not herself. Actually, you know what? This isn't about Amber. It's about Tess. I grab the purple pen and smooth out the creases in the paper.
Gonna keep it going?
Until the end. I finish writing my new bid and look at the timer. You're a big girl, Marina. You can handle this. You can get Tess her present. And you can show Amber you're more than capable. I'll be right back, Mr. Vendor. Just gonna take one last stroll around. If I make sure not to go very far, I can catch this bully in the act. There's only 10 minutes left.
Mariah could no longer contain the seething, swirling rage within her. She felt it from the soles of her feet to the tips of her split ends.
Oh. So they want to die.
Sister, if you're gonna commit murder, could you possibly do it in front of one of the other booths? She ignored him, possibly didn't even hear him. Instead, she just muttered to herself.
$19. That's all their life was worth, huh?
The bet was too precise. Her opponent, this villain, this terror, this scourge, this dick, they had to have known she only had 20 on her. This new bet was a geometrically calculated kick in the nuts. Listen, I don't want to throw off the vibe here, but if there's going to be trouble, then I'm going to need to ask you to leave.
I'm not going anywhere.
Jesus, how did you set yourself on fire?
Not until I win this thing or bust up their face.
5 minutes remained.
Oh, I'm so mad. I stomp around the corner, headed straight back to the silent auction booth. Maybe it's not the truest thing in the world, but I like to believe that every stranger is good at heart. But this person, I'm not so sure. They made someone else's bad day even worse. I'm going to give them a piece of my mind. I'll make this quick.
Mariah stood in front of the booth, cracking her knuckles. She would have gotten upset over this any day of the week, but the fact that this was supposed to be for Tess made it extra personal. Even if the other person had no way of knowing, well, they would know after this. She would make sure of it.
I'm going to kick their ass. I march like a soldier.
I'm beginning to think this is turning into a bit of a production.
And after that's taken care of...
Mariah waited impatiently.
And once that's over with... I'm gonna win. I'm gonna win. I spot the booth, and there's like a split second where I feel like a muscled up superhero or pro wrestler. Then I see it. A chili pepper red bandana, attached to long blonde hair, and a jumpsuit. Oh my god, that's Mariah! Mariah, it's been forever! The happy tears start rolling and I start strolling directly to her. It's not every day that you see a friend that you don't see every day.
I love Marina's narration.
And bouncing.
Oh, the tears started rolling and I started strolling. It's not every day you see a friend that you don't see every day. Oh my god.
It's like I was never even angry to begin with. She must be happy too, because the second she sees me, her expression changes from sour to, well, she's sort of hard to read, but that can't be anything but happy.
She's still bouncing.
There's a teeny pause after I run up to her. She just kind of looks at it. But I'm so excited I can't do anything but jog in place. Hug? Ah! Oof, she must have been drinking. I can smell it all over her breath. She absolutely needs this hug. I dive in and give her a big, long hug. Her clothes are stiff and a little smelly, so I try not to breathe. But I hope it does her some good. She's always arguing with Joe, and I know when I argue with Amber, all I really want is a hug.
Hug energy.
Hug energy.
Have to hold for 10 seconds for the optimal buff.
She doesn't hug me back, not that I really expected her to. Just kind of stands there like a tree. Hey, other one? It's Marina. Yeah, whatever you just said. Same old Mariah. I have no idea why her and Amber don't get along. They're so similar.
Gay, homosexual, gay.
I break away from her, then just stare at her and smile. She wrinkles her nose. I'd ask what you're doing here, but I guess it's not really that surprising, huh? The only thing that's surprising is that you and your worse half are crazy enough to drive all the way out here because of the brat. Oh no, anything for Tess. You guys could be in Timbuktu, and if it meant we could meet up, we'd make our motorhome float. Gross, but thanks, I guess. The kid'll appreciate it. Things have kind of been on the rocks lately. She looks up at the JC Saves license plate like she might be able to pray it into her hands. When she's not paying attention, Mr. Vendor's jaw pretty much drops to the table. He points back and forth. But why? Why is he... Oh, crap. Crappity crap crap crap. Mariah's the other bidder? Oh god, this makes way too much sense now. The scary numbers, the escalation, the harsh words. Got a problem?
Oh god, I adore this. I adore this so much.
Ooh, what? No, of course not. Stop being so silly, Mariah. Well, I got a problem. Oh no, does she know I was the other bidder? If she finds out, she'll totally kill me. She'll use my bones as toothpicks, my scrunchie for floss. Really? All I can do is smile. Maybe if I smile, she won't catch on. But Mariah's sharp like a rusty nail. She'll absolutely see right through me, just like when we played poker. Sure do.
Oh, crappity crap.
I'm not even sure those were words. They came out more like a growl. And it's with the no good. Here it comes. Lousy. Please don't eat me, Mariah. Yellow-bellied. I hope Amber finds my remains one day. Slouch, who's trying to outbid me for that crusty old license plate I'm nabbing for my sister. She thrusts her arm out and points a single claw at the license plate. Her cheeks puff out in frustration. And for the first time, Mariah doesn't seem so scary.
All of the expressions! All of them!
Does she really not know it was me?
Ah!
Amber always said that Mariah was as dumb as the sludge she was birthed from, but I don't think that's true. Maybe she's just not that perceptive is all.
Were they trying to make every other frame in this a meme? Because if so, it's working.
Well, let's not look a gift horse in the mouth, shall we? It's a good gift for her. We both turn and look up at it together. Do you think it'll make her happy? Sure, it's her birthday and she would deserve a gift regardless, but I think it's more important than usual that she get something that makes her happy. That's the whole reason I've been so intense about getting her something. Nope. Huh? Then why are you... As there's a difference between being happy and getting someone to smile, you ditz. Ah, crap. I said the quiet part out loud again. The quiet part doesn't even bother me. Every single one of my brothers and sisters has called me something worse. Even the 5-year-old. So, are you going for the smile then? Hey, look at you with the brain cells and junk.
I have 2 brain cells, at least.
She sighs, then hides it with a yawn, then sighs again. Aw, she really is like Amber. She has trouble expressing herself in everything. Though it's cuter when you don't have to date the person. But yeah, I am. I don't got what it takes to make her happy. And if I'm being real, I don't think anyone does. The kid's destined to be miserable, just like the rest of us. Oh, I don't think that's true at all. Everyone has the chance to be happy. Sometimes it just takes some work. Maybe some support from people who you know love you. Maybe years of therapy. I nudge her with my elbow.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
A little hint, hint from one big sister to another. Her face scrunches up like she just smelled something funny. I snap my elbow back into place.
Please don't bite me.
You really believe that crap? Sure. I guess that makes you special then, huh? You got a perfect little life and you're always happy. Well, no, not always. Something inside me tenses up. Is it even most of the time? It's the kind of feeling I get late at night when Amber's asleep and I just turn over to look at her. My emotions always get all jumbled up during those times. Not lately. I want to look at her and be in love, but recently I've only been able to think about how she might be better off without me. How she might be happier, less annoyed. That's what I thought. Eventually, everyone's like that. Soon enough, it'll be Tess's turn. I really wish I didn't have to hear this. It's a terrible way to look at the world. I just want to plug my ears until she's done with it. The worst thing that could happen is if I actually started to believe her. But if I can stave that off a little longer, so she doesn't have to deal with it yet, then I guess I'll have done something kinda useful. My heart dances and I feel my mood perk up with it. So she's not a Debbie Downer after all.
No, I'm just a morbid Mariah.
I don't think you actually believe that, Mariah. How about you get a little closer and tell me what it is I believe? Oopsie daisy, time to course correct. Well, it's just that even if you say all that stuff, you obviously care about her. I'm always worried about my brothers and sisters, about whether they're safe, staying out of trouble, and helping each other when they need it. When you share blood, it's just something that happens. Blood is bullshit. The whole stupid notion of it. I'd know. Me and the squirt only share half of it. It doesn't matter if we share the same spit. Doesn't matter that she's my sister. All that matters is that she's Tess, and that's all the reason I need to want to help. So get out of my face with that family bond garbage, will ya?
Mariah said found family.
So intense.
How intense? 5 intense? 10 intense? 20 intense? That's so intense.
But I think I might get what she's saying, even if I don't agree with all of it. You can't see DNA, so whether you're family or not doesn't really factor into whether you actually like the person. Lucky for me, I like all my family. And Amber. And Tess. And I think I might even like Mariah, too.
Got room for one more on that?
Who was that?
1 minute left in the auction.
Mr. Vendor calls out from his booth, trying not to look at me while also trying to speak to me. He must have seen how scary Mariah was.
Lolrim.
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 Guess that other guy was too chicken shit to show their dumb face after all. Mariah rushes over to the booth and grabs the black pen. Would still like to tear them a new one, though. Oh, I'm going to be dead broke because of their ass. I think I'm going to let Mariah have this one. It seems like it's more important for Tess to get it from her than me. Me and Amber will just have to figure out something else to give to her. While Mariah's scribbling on the paper, I take the chance to step away. It's time for me to get back to the booth. I'm pretty sure I'm about to reach my limit, but we'll see how much more of it I can take. If only I could be a little braver and speak my mind to Amber, like Mariah. Her voice echoes out from behind me, breaking through the thick crowd. Yeah, I win. In your dumb face, sucker. Come at the queen and you better not miss. Well, maybe not too much like Mariah.
Ooh. Explosion. Why did Marina want me to say that? Hours later, there's a huge crowd around our table. When Marina came back empty-handed from shopping for Tess, she was met with dozens of hungry customers. There's more people than I expected to attend this convention in total, waiting with cash in hand and demanding to be fed. The line is so long that it seems to stretch most of the way through the already tightly packed hall. Unfortunately, they're all in line for the alien burger stand that's set up a couple booths away from us. Their line is so long that it dwarfs the number of the smaller vendors' queues.
How about a snack while you wait in line? We've got homemade marshmallow treats.
No thanks. I'm trying to eat healthier.
Future burger eater.
Future burger eater.
Wow, you're from the future?
Nah, darn right I am.
There's more to life than burgers, like dessert. Who doesn't love sweets?
I don't.
Bless her heart, Marina doesn't... Oh.
Bless her heart, Marina doesn't give up. She's been at it for a while, even narrating for me. It's so kind of her. After failing to get a hold of Tess, I told her that she could just go enjoy the con herself. I even offered to go with her again, but she's chosen to stick around here. We've had a handful of customers, but the total sales so far wouldn't even buy the three of us lunch. None of us really acknowledge it, but I'm sure we're all aware. Cassie at least doesn't seem too upset. That or she does a good job of hiding it. Finally, I get tired of just standing around and need an excuse to stretch my legs a bit.
Amber taps me on the shoulder.
Gay. I'm gonna get some water. You want anything?
Like a million different things come to mind. A million different snarky answers. I want a lot of things, Amber, is what I want to say. I'm good, thanks.
All right, just keep up with the explosion.
Wow.
Yeah? Yeah? I've been working on it just for you.
Oh, thanks.
I hope that was everything you hoped it would be.
Just putting this out there, do you happen to have like an eye patch you could put on while you say it?
I do? Why would you know that I had that?
Don't worry about it. She leaves. Everything sucks. Our stupid booth sucks. These customers suck. This convention sucks. Why, my brain screams at itself for the 1000th time, did you agree to this? Because, I answer, it's not like Amber will listen. I guess it's not like I could have known that Amber would remember the super hot girl who she ran into exactly one time in her life. And even less likely that she'd be the only other person in the world who Amber actually likes. But of course, against all odds, that's what happened. Congratulations, Marina, you finally got your big Las Vegas jackpot. I think I've done an okay job of keeping my cool. I'm pretty sure Amber doesn't even realize I'm upset. That's part of the problem too. The one time that there's something I want to do, and of course Amber can't help but remind me at every turn that she doesn't want to be here. Hey.
Ma!
Oh no. Please, don't try to talk to me. Not alone. I should have gone with Amber.
I've got 4 words that just came into my mind that I'm going to repeat as I stand here behind you.
Yeah? I look back, hoping that she's talking to a customer or someone else.
Well, really, it's just one word 3 times, and then another one.
But no, she's looking straight at me. Do you want to sit down? Chair's open. Oh, sure. Sitting down, comfort, right, those things exist. I try to come up with a good reason to say no, even as I'm nodding and walking behind the booth. I sit down, under protest. I smooth my skirt. I crack my knuckles. I look at the floor.
Did one of your arms get really beefy while we were gone? Amber told me to check in on that.
No comment. I look at my shoes. I look at everything except Cassie, because I know she's looking at me and I don't want to make eye contact. So, thanks for all your help. Don't mention it. Literally, please don't. Those were legitimately the best marshmallow treats I've ever had, too. If I ever make them again, I'm going to use your trick. Thanks.
Thanks, Cassie. Thassy.
That actually makes me pretty happy to hear. Not that I'm going to tell her that. Yours were pretty good too. I'm not lying, they were fine. They just weren't as good as mine. And they were better than Amber's. Thanks, I've had a bit of practice. Not as much as you though, it sounds like. You an only child? Nah, I got a little brother back home. Just the one, though. He's 14. What's he like? He's a real shithead. I love him, though. Apparently, he's really good at football, so that's what he's focusing on. One of my brothers plays football, too, although between us all, I think we have, like, every major sport covered. You play any?
I play Melee.
Nope, I'm not really good at stuff. Athletic, I guess. Yeah, me neither. So what is your thing then? Huh? What thing? Like, what are you into? Not sports, apparently. Oh, I like traveling and camping, outdoorsy stuff. That's how you and Amber ended up together then? Yeah, something like that. It bothers me, but the answers that I gave don't really feel right. I don't really love those things, do I? They're fun, sure, but they're still Amber's hobbies. I'm just along for the ride. When I think that, I get a funny feeling in my stomach, like a pit just opened up and I'm falling inside of it. This is pretty much the worst place in the world to have a panic attack, so I distract myself with the first thing that comes to mind. What about you? I have no idea what it's like living in a city where stuff, like, happens. It's not all it's cracked up to be out there, that's for sure. I moved out here a couple years ago because I thought the same thing, but it turns out that the idea of living in Las Vegas is way different from the real thing. Where'd you move from? Cassie smirks. New Mexico, Albuquerque specifically. So you can relate then.
In Albuquerque.
Totally. I didn't really have anything going for me here, but I didn't have anything going for me there either. So I figured, what the hell, I may as well make a change and do something with my life. So you came out here. Yeah, dumb, right? Nothing really changed though. Guess I brought my problems with me. I don't think that's dumb.
Why does that give Cassie yandere eyes?
Fear.
Fear at not being dumb?
I'm here for practically the same reason. Just took the first chance to get the heck out of where I was. And that was Amber? I want to say no, that I just happened to meet Amber along the way, but pretty much, I didn't get very far. If my dad had come to get me or something, then I'd probably still be there right now. It seems like you two take good care of each other. Me and my dad? No, you and Amber. Duh, of course she meant Amber, you dummy. Oh, yeah, I guess so. If Amber was here, I'm sure she'd say something about how she's the one who takes care of me. Which, I mean, isn't entirely wrong, but it's not entirely true either. But if Amber was here, I'm sure she wouldn't understand why. So, where are you two heading after you leave Vegas? This girl never stops talking, does she? But the moment I feel annoyed by that, I feel bad too. She's just trying to be friendly. It's not her fault that things are weird with me and Amber. And besides, maybe they're not. Maybe it's just in my head and I'm the weird one. I should be happy that Amber's made a friend for once. Doesn't change how I feel though. I get so wrapped up in thinking that I almost forget to respond. Oh, I'm not sure yet. We don't ever really plan anything. We just sorta figure it out as we go along. Anywhere that you really want to see someday? A couple places, I guess, like New York and those big cities. I've never been to the other side of the country. Oh, or San Francisco, just because it always looks so nice in movies, and I hear there's Bitcoin there. Or maybe Portland.
All right, well, friendship over.
I think it's, but I think it's fine as long as I find it, I loot it, like the gold, right? It was probably pretty exploitative, but finders keepers, and we didn't make the gold, we just dug it up. So I was thinking probably we'll dig up some Bitcoins.
I see where the...
I've never seen one in real life. Oh, what's in Portland? Yeah, it just looks pretty. Can't argue with you there. We sit back down and I check my phone just for something to do with my hands. No new messages. I keep hoping Tess will text me back.
I've got something you can do with your hands, Vivin.
That was the weakest high five I've ever delivered.
Here we go.
Let's try the other hand. That was still awful.
That was still
This
awful,
doesn't
but
work
that one picked up on the mic.
mics are directly between us, so I can't do...
Wind up.
Even there, I can't. It would need to be
Here, why don't you hit...
I literally need to move the mic to do it.
Oh, okay, well, that sounds like a you problem.
We sit back down and I check my phone just for something to do with my hands. No new messages. I keep hoping Tess will text me back and I'll remember which lines I've read. Does it say something about me that the person I text most is an 11-year-old? Maybe, but I don't want to know what. I've always wanted to see New York too. I feel like that's what real cities are supposed to be like. Skyscrapers and subways and millions of people. Right? Honestly, that's what I thought Las Vegas would be like. Disappointed with the reality? Only a little. Well, that makes two of us again. Why not ask Amber to go check out one of those places if you two don't ever have a destination in mind?
Well,
maybe. She sure does bring up Amber a lot. Speaking of, I wonder where she is. The vending machine isn't that far away. Who knows? I don't mean to be snappy with her, but it comes out that way. I hope that maybe my tone went unnoticed, but I can tell by the way Cassie raises her eyebrows that it didn't. Nice going, Marina. You're on a roll today.
Combo!
Still, seconds after saying her name, Amber appears from around a different corner than the one she went down.
Sorry, what's up?
Why does that make me so nervous?
Marina and Cassie are both right where I left them, as are every single item we have for sale. No surprises there. Shove my way through some shambling burger customers and slide back behind our booth.
You get lost on the way.
Actually, yeah, couldn't find the vending machine, so I let myself get ripped off and bought one of these. I hold up the bottle for them both to see. It's a souvenir plastic bottle with the convention's logo covering most of it. Filled it with the finest tap water from a water fountain. I take a sip and try to ignore the plasticky aftertaste. Did I miss anything?
Not at all.
Mare didn't talk your ear off, did she? Put my hand on Marina's shoulder, but she shrugs it off with a cold look.
Nope. I think I might have talked hers off, though.
Wow, I'm shocked. I would have figured you got her whole life story while I was gone. Marina rolls her eyes and stands up, stalking past me to go pointlessly rearrange the items on display once again.
Nah, just talked about where we're from and how we ended up here. Turns out the two of us have a lot in common.
Seriously?
Yeah. We both got the same kind of wanderlust, I think. Only difference is I never got to burn mine off on an epic road trip with my girlfriend.
I take a seat on the now empty chair. Hey, the RV's always got room for one more if you ever get sick of this
Fear
place.
eyes again.
Amber. Oh, Amber. Hamber. Hamber. I'm sure Marina would be cool with it too, right, Mare? There's a loud rattle as Marina spills a basket of candy on the ground. One of the packs explodes open, sending shrapnel chocolate peanut brittle scattering. Mare? Stand up right as Marina's hand tightens into a fist. I place my hand on her shoulder. This time she doesn't shrug it off, but I can feel her body shaking. She finally turns around. There are tears in her eyes. Oh, crap. You feel anything? Tess continued to squeeze the man in the gray alien mascot suit, counting the seconds in her head until she reached 20. Because 20 was the amount of seconds an article said she had read said it would take until a hug would release endorphins. She read the same article we did.
Mm-hmm. I got +2 for a couple seconds, but it's gone now.
She backed away, her arms leaving an imprint on the chubby suit. Tess looked up at the alien's lifeless black eyes and bowed.
Sorry, mister.
Joe and Tess wandered off. The next child in line tackled the alien with a sprinting hug, weighing the immobile suit to the ground. Children swarmed him as the line developed. Chaos reigned. It's all good, kiddo. At least you felt something, right?
Feelings are fleeting.
Shit! Fuck! Yeah, but memories last a lifetime. With a click of his tongue and a finger gun for good measure, he handed back her disposable camera. Wait. We determined when playing a different game that doing finger guns means that you're trans.
Did we?
Yes, we did.
I don't remember this.
While I was playing a different Studio Elan title.
Oh, yeah, we did. Okay.
Yeah.
I forgot because I haven't played that one.
You should. We should play that on the channel at some point. But we determined that, it's an unavoidable sign of transness that you will, at some point, finger guns, click, and then just, walk away. What I'm getting at is that Joe here is transmasculine and changed my mind.
I see.
Finger gun. Tess stared at her reflection in the polished floor. Joe patted her head, and each time it landed, she felt like a nail being hammered back into place. If I'm not mistaken, we have 4 or so tickets left. How's my math?
Pretty good. We have 8 altogether.
Geez, $40 really doesn't take you far here, huh? Thought the carnies back home were bad.
We're all just marks waiting to be worked, brother.
Joe scanned the hall, searching for anything other than another carnival game. Tess was too good at those, and after a few minutes of holding her giant stuffed prizes, her arms would get tired. Each and every time, she would hand them off to people she thought needed them more. Toddlers, fighting couples, and those weirdos in costumes. Nothing impressed her. It was as if she saw the world in muted monochrome, and she was at least 10 years too early for that. A kid should be able to look around her and view everything with hopeful vibrancy, like it's all being seen for the first time. It was a precious point of view that had been taken away from Joe too early, but Tess had a birthright to it, just as much as any other kid. And it was something he was beginning to feel like had been taken away from her, too. And that, maybe he had something to do with it. Maybe all the treasure hunts and scrambling and general insanity had zapped the poor kid's spirit before it could ever really take off. Mariah couldn't be held responsible for it. She could hardly be held responsible for herself. So whenever Joe looked down and saw Tess's quiet, pale face staring into the distance, into a Missouri summer that neither he nor Mariah could bear to let her experience, he felt the burden weigh heavier and heavier, and it was his burden. So they wrapped around the corner. Joe locked onto the biggest thing in sight, a bouncy castle. It was a saucer-shaped spectacle, chrome silver with a green bulb at the very top. For a few moments, with that unmistakable jumping rhythm, a child's silhouette would leap up before being pulled back down. Hey, how about the bouncy UFO over there?
What's that face mean?
Concern, alarm. Tess took one look at the UFO, then took 2 steps so she could hide behind Joe.
Let's not.
Yeah, why not?
Sign says it costs 8 tickets. Only one of us could go in.
She glanced over at it. A kid tumbled out of the entrance with a somersault, stood up, shook it off, and then dove back in.
It should be you.
Call it a hunch, but I somehow get the feeling that wouldn't be very accommodating of a 6'3", 200-pound man. I'll tell you what, you get on my leftover tickets and spend some time in there yourself. Her shoulders stiffened. She wished she were one of those desert tortoises she saw sometimes. At least they could hide in their shells.
Do I have to, Joey?
He floated his hand behind her back and ushered her along. Yeah, sure. When's the last time you played with kids your own age?
Never.
Well, do you some good then. Come on. He guided her to the entrance of the UFO and handed her his 4 tickets. She limply held up the 8 tickets. A bored teenager with the word staff written on his shirt and a tape snatched them from her before she could take a single breath. He tossed them into the trash can next to his folding chair.
No shoes or outside toys.
The teen pointed at the crumble latched onto her back. Tess looked at Joey with pleading eyes, hoping that if she looked uncomfortable enough, he would change his mind. I'll keep watch. You don't have to worry about anyone stealing it. Seemed all but inevitable now. Tess bent down and unlaced her hiking boots. She sat them side by side, aligning them with all the Velcro-strapped sneakers that had been tossed aside. Next up was the crumble.
What does that mean?
She slid it from its sheath. The whole thing was almost as tall as her. She cradled it in both arms, then laid it on top of the rose shoes. Its weight flattened all of them at the toes. Tess stood in front of the inflatable horror looming over her. Piercing shrieks rang out like the screams of the damned clawing through the earth's crust. What were they doing to each other in there?
Beamed up.
I don't know what the word crumble means. Hold on.
Is that place where they keep the really fucked up aliens?
Oh yeah, Mariah was hoping to see some really fucked up aliens. You're gonna have to keep ad-libbing while I look this up.
that was my ad-lib. I'm tapped.
Crumble is an American-made multi-tool, with its main tool being a folding shovel. The E-tool combines several devices and functions in one. It will assist you in every aspect of preparedness as a survival tool, emergency tool, and a camping tool. I see.
We should get one of those.
Why? For all the survival we'll need to do in our living room?
Sometimes you just need to dig a hole. Diggy, diggy, diggy.
Yeah? Where, though? Like, our landlord won't let us dig up the lawn. Our landlord won't let us dig up our living room either, honey.
If the hole's deep enough, he can't stop you.
Huh.
I know, right?
Where'd you get the crumble? It came from the hole. What were they doing to each other in there? What would they do to her?
Come on, kid. There's a line.
The teen shoved her into the entrance, the curtain swallowing her entire body. In her last act of despair, she reached out her hand towards the light.
Joe.
Joe swelled with pride as he watched Tess get whisked away to adventure. What a little trooper.
Tell Mariah I said hello.
Inside the bouncy castle, Tess rolled in like a tumbleweed blown off the street. The screams from before were all around her now. Boys and girls leapt and bounced, some high enough to touch the light bulb at the top, maybe even high enough to touch the top of the stratosphere. Yeah, I heard that. The walls tinted everything in swampish green. In a far-off corner, there was a boy jumping alone. He'd been jumping for so long, his face had turned purple, swelling to the point where he looked like a selfish squirrel. When he saw Tess, he grinned at the gaps in his teeth looking like tiny black holes. He never stopped bouncing. Tess made the jiggly, unbalanced journey to her feet. As soon as she stood, a girl swooped in next to her and screamed in her ear. The pitch was high enough to induce tinnitus. Tess's eardrums had been made of glass. They would have shattered. Tess fell back down onto her knees. Her ears throbbed. The girl stood over her, giggling. Tess loosely raised her finger in protest.
Could you not do...
The girl ignored her, bouncing away with her pigtails flowing behind her.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Gradually, Tessa's hearing faded back to her, a buzz now ringing in the depths of her ears. All she could do to keep herself from dwelling on it was to focus on the electrical hum of air being pumped into the UFO. She listened close enough, it sounded like chanting. Tess trembled to her feet, her head swinging back and forth to make sure she wasn't snuck up on again. The place stunk of sweat and socks, a pungent smell that didn't do so much as attack you but seep into you, just as it seeped into the rubber walls. She tried to put on a brave face, tried to be courageous. Joey had told her to play with kids her own age. If it had been her sister, she would have already pieced out. But this was Joey. He actually cared. He wanted her to be okay. And if this is what being okay meant, then she needed to try. Because if she didn't, maybe he wouldn't be okay. It's probably already the reason why Marina hadn't texted her once this entire time. She must have finally realized that Tess was a freak. A freckled ginger boy bounced past her. She raised her hand.
Excuse.
He leaped on past her. Another girl. This one in a tight ponytail and a sweatshirt with a horse on it. She was doing cartwheels.
Pardon.
Ignored. From across the castle, a tank of a boy stomped over. With every step he took, one of the children sprawled out on the floor would be launched several inches in the air. It was as if the rules of gravity bent themselves to this child's whim. He stopped in front of Tess. His breathing was heavy and fierce, like a caribou in the winter tundra. He glared at her, his scrunched up eyes looking like they might sink into his wrinkled nose. The longer he stared, the smaller Tess felt. And the smaller Tess felt, the larger he looked. But this wasn't the time to feel small. This was the time to feel brave. She extended her hand, poised for the hardiest handshake her thin fingers would be able to squeeze out.
Play?
His gaze shifted down to her hand, then shifted back to her. His mouth opened like the drawbridge to a castle. He unleashed a mighty roar from the depths of his chest. It wasn't enough to send Tess flying back, but the pizza breath might have been. I am King Jeremy. Duel me. King Jeremy stomped both feet and took his battle stance. The same one he had seen a sumo wrestler do on TV. But it wouldn't be Tess who took up the challenge. A boy with wire-framed glasses stepped forward.
No, I am Liberty Man, and I will defeat you with my Holy Grail powers.
You're cheating! Liberty Man doesn't have Holy Grail powers!
Nuh-uh, 'cause I'm also, a knight.
Another boy shouted.
I wanted to be the knight.
And another.
Ninja.
And another.
Pirate.
And another.
Astronaut.
From there, descended into a debate of professions ranging from the mundane to the magical. Tess could only watch in stuttering horror as the battle lines were drawn around her until finally sides had been taken and she was left in the middle.
So what are you?
She looks like a hobo.
Wait, no.
But it was too late. It was like a plague. Every child picked up on it, the very essence of hobo, and carved into the bouncy castle lore.
I want to be a hobo. Please don't. He's already the hobo. I'm not a hobo. I'm not.
It occurred to Tess just how hot the inside of the bouncy castle was. The air was stale and hovered over her like a humid day at the river. Her breathing was short, shallow, impossible to control. Her chest heaved in and out, taking in oxygen by the shovelful. I knight you as Sir Hobo. No longer children, but shadows.
Shadows?
Shadows. They circled around her, their mutterings of hobo forming into an amorphous suggestion of the word. Even when they weren't saying hobo, they were saying hobo. Why was she a hobo? Did she smell, or maybe they just didn't like her? Was this rejection? If it was, would they push her, scream in her other ear, yell at her? Would Sus yell at her later because of this? Would that make her sad? Would that cause Joey to not be okay? Would Marina stop talking to her altogether? Would it all be her fault? It would. It would have to be. And then she would lay awake at night, when it was dark, when the bad things happened, when bad thoughts happened. Would her life always be like that? Just one big, bad thought? Hobo!
Hobo. Hobo.
It was a church choir now, and the entire congregation, except for her, was singing. The girl with the pigtails screamed.
Ah!
Tess shoved through the crowd of regular giggling children who were not singing or chanting or even a choir. She ran for the exit. Back outside, Joe swallowed back a yawn. Tess bounced out of the UFO. The teen working the entrance looked at his phone as she darted off. Her head swung back and forth, a silent promise that she would never go back. Hey, yo, Tess, hold up. Where you headed, Tess? He watched at the top of Tess's bandana disappear into a sea of attendees. Some made space for her, most didn't. Crap. He rushed over to grab Tess's belongings. Wait, you just can't leave your things here, Tess! He sprinted out of the play area, her shoes and Crubble swinging from his hands. Tess, where are you? Just say something so I know you're okay. A flood of worst-case scenarios spiraled through his thoughts. Running away, kidnapped, hurt, the usual suspects. But there was one image that haunted him. Despite him never having been witness to it, had carved itself into his memories for years. It would remain there for his entire life. In this vivid painting where the water flowed, a toad croaked and a brush dripped the humidity of summer. There was a small body that floated down the stream, face down, bobbing with the current. Except now the body had platinum hair, a red bandana that was sopping wet. They were pale and still. He tried to push it out of his mind. Thinking about it made it harder to run, harder to breathe. But it wouldn't go away. Not really. His burden to bear. Finally, there was some respite. Assurance that it was okay, that Tess was okay. Far from the activities, where the crowds had thinned and the decorations were sparse, Tess sat against a wall. There was one drinking fountain on the wall, and she had sat directly under it. Curled into a ball with her knees drawn into a chest, she rocked back and forth, her bandana showing her face. Joe breathed a sigh of relief. On the off chance there was someone up there looking out for her, he looked up and hipped his bandana. He strolled up to Tess and shot her a smile. How's it going, kiddo? No response. I think you forgot these. He leaned her Crubble against the wall. His adrenaline told him to just drop the shoes, but he made sure to place them gently at her feet instead. Her shoulders huffed twice. She looked up at him. 2 tears slipped out of the corners of her eyes. Otherwise, there were no sore eyes or a puffy face. Joe dropped to his knee. Hey, is everything okay? She shook her head, once left, once right.
I don't know if I'm happy or not.
His mouth hung open as he tried to formulate a response. Although the truth was as obvious as the 2 tears sliding down her cheeks. No happy person would ask that question. Do you feel unhappy? She nodded.
I think so.
Joe frowned and looked away. The guilt made it too hard to look at her. Tess wiped away her tears and sniffed up everything else. Are you afraid to cry?
Not really. I just don't feel like doing it now.
So you feel better?
No. Just don't feel like crying now. Other kids cry a lot. They scream too. I don't know how they do it so much. It seems hard.
She brought her knees further into her chest.
And scary.
Emotions are pretty scary.
Yes. I want them to go away.
You feel them a lot, huh?
Yes and no. Sometimes I feel a little. Sometimes I feel a lot. It feels like...
Tess ruffled her bandana and tried to think of words. Words were hard. Finding words for herself was harder.
It feels like people want me to feel a lot when I feel a little. Or want me to feel a little when I feel a lot.
Did you feel a lot back there? Joe motioned down the hall where the bouncy castle was, where all the hectic things were.
Too much. Like I shouldn't be there, and they made me not want to be there. It's always like this when I try to play.
Joe tilted his head. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I know.
Joe's shoulder slumped. The kid really had a way of taking the calcium out of your milk. A lot when a little, huh?
Yeah. But it's okay, Joey. It's just how it is.
It isn't, though. He clenched the fabric of his jumpsuit, cursing the person who made an 11-year-old think the world worked this way, then cursed himself for his role in it.
You're wrong. It is. Sis yells at me because I feel a little. You run after me because I feel a lot. It's okay. It's what I do. And it's what grown-ups do.
A single dimple formed on Chess's cheek.
Except Marina. I like her. She's nice and talks to me about fun things. Sis says it's because she's special. I think she's right. Marina is very special.
Joe decided he'd swap Mariah over the head later for that one.
But I think I scared her away. Too freaky. Because I'm me.
That one was the hardest for Tess to say. She wished she hadn't, because the second she said it, it felt true. Her bottom lip quivered.
I just wish I wasn't me, and that not me was like everyone else. And I wish I was okay.
The heartbreak that had been collapsing in on Joe fell down then and there. No one looked at Tess like a person, let alone a child. Not even Tess, not even him. She was just an enigma, an icy set piece that existed to make everything else feel whole, but not herself. He had enabled that. The narrative that small people only felt simple things. It had come full circle. Joe clutched the plastic dog tag strung around his neck. Either through inspiration or determination, a small fire sparked inside of him. She had tried to explain herself to him as well as she could, so it was only fair for him to do the same. Alrighty, let's give this a shot. You know, I used to not be okay. Tess's eyes grew wide in disbelief and then small in suspicion.
This is a ploy.
No, honest, I was pretty messed up as a kid.
That doesn't sound right. You're too normal.
Pretty confident for someone who wasn't even alive to see it.
Before I was born?
The allure of the before times was too great to ignore. It seemed mystical to her, the era of ancients. It was a lot different back then. Everything was different, I guess. Did she dare to ask?
Different how?
She dared. Well, I had a brother for one. Exclamation points went off in Tessa's head. She had at least a dozen questions to ask, but before she could bring up any of them, the truth made itself known to her. The exclamation points became ellipses.
Oh, sorry.
It was a long time ago. She stayed silent. You aren't gonna ask?
Wouldn't it be rude?
Joe shrugged. His name was Benjamin, but I just called him Benji. Mom would always throw a fit when she heard me call him that. Benjamin is a perfectly lovely name and all that jazz.
It's biblical.
Most things are, kid. Tess recalled the handful of times she had been dragged to a Sunday school. Her blood ran cold with Old Testament fear. Her voice went quiet.
Was it a plague?
No, nothing like that. He drowned. Tess shifted around to find a comfortable position, but remained thoroughly uncomfortable. It wasn't scary, just sad, and Joey sounded sad when he said it. I was younger than you when it all went down, and he was even younger than that, so, Losing track, Joe scratched his head. Half of him felt like he had traveled back in time to that sweltering day where stepping outside felt like the stepping out of the shower. The other half of him felt like it didn't exist. He, couldn't swim. I told him I would teach him how, but it was an auto show at the pharmacy, and Pops' shop was sponsoring. You've, met my Pops, right?
Very big. Very scary.
Nah, he just doesn't talk much. Kinda like you. Wish he did, though. Why are you trying to delay this, he thought. Saying it changes nothing. Anyway, I said that he should go to the river and I'd catch up. And they found him a few days later. But saying it out loud changed everything. Tess thought about how many times she had swam in that river and how she might never want to again. She thought about how Joey looked like a new Joey. Tess reached over to touch his leg, not knowing anything else to do except placing her hand on it.
Are you okay now?
Usually. It comes and goes. Comes when I worry about folks. Goes when I know they're okay. But back then, well, I guess no one would be okay after that, and I wasn't.
Did you feel a lot?
He stared down at her and grinned, but Tess knew it was just for pretend. Too much. Too sad, too guilty, too angry. Mom was hysterical through all of it, and I can't really blame her. Pops never talked about it and threw out most of Benji's things within a week. Can't really blame him either.
A lot and a little.
Yep, and I must be their kid because I got both of those things. Joe toyed with the dog tag, twirling his fingers through the chain. It weighed more than the plastic it was supporting. Some days I skipped school and would just sunbathe on the riverbank. Looking back, that was probably weird, but being so close to where it happened made me feel like it hadn't. But then when I would go out, everything was just a reminder. People would look at me and I'd get heated, they'd whisper and I'd lash out, and thought maybe they were talking about how it was my fault, or maybe they just felt bad. Didn't matter. Both scenarios really ticked me off.
You sound paranoid, like Sis.
Probably was. It's pretty lonely. Picking fights with people doesn't make you a lot of friends. Mariah being the exception. Tess considered this, imagining Joey sitting as he is now, except now in the middle of a wheat field, a plane soared far above him from the distance.
I hope you're not lonely anymore.
Oh, of course not. I got you, don't I?
And Sis.
Especially your sister. Remind me to wash my mouth out with soap after saying that. She was as mouthy back then as she is now, and I didn't exactly practice the art of pacifism, so us getting to know each other may or may not have involved a fistfight on the playground.
Sounds about right.
Couldn't have happened any other way. But as crazy as it sounds, she was the only one who would let my emotions play out. Did not compute. Tess wrinkled her nose, unable to imagine any scenario where her sister would show as weak of a display as empathy.
That's impossible. She would never do that. Also, she would probably call you a crybaby.
Oh, don't get me wrong, she absolutely did, but she would always stick around. Didn't matter how many times I told her to go away, it was always, "Sheep up, slacker, that lemonade stand ain't gonna build itself."
Oh, that sounds more like her. Does that count?
Not sure. I'd like to think she was trying to help in her own way. Might be the only way, and I'm better off for it. The conversation petered into fumes. They both stared ahead, watching the spattering of people occasionally walking by. A lot had been said, and even more had been thought. Much of what Joey had told her was sad, but for some reason she felt warm. The conversation had felt like a hug. She had been right, he was a new Joey, but perhaps this one was better. He looked Tess straight in the eye, as much as he could under the water fountain. Joe had no illusions that he understood everything, or that any of the things he had said would make her feel better, but doing this was at least something. Things are different for each of us, Tess. I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you. It's not always gonna be okay, and you won't always be okay. And there are gonna be times when you might not even know why. A hollow space drilled itself into Tess's chest. It dug its way down into her gut. But I'll be here, even if you never feel okay ever again. However, the thing about hollow spaces is that there's always room for them to be filled. That said, not feeling okay sucks though, so let's try to boost your chances. He pulled the dog tag over his head. At first, Tess wasn't sure what to do. She watched the dog tag sway from the chain as he held it out. Cautiously, she opened up her palm and reached out. He dropped it in her hand, the beads of the chain rattling behind it. Tess squinted and read the faded name carved into it.
But this is
a good luck charm. Might not seem like a real dog tag, but the engraver who gave it to me said my brother said it works twice as well. A lump formed in Tess's chest. It snaked its way up her throat and she could feel it clenching. I'm not a very lucky guy though, so try to give it back once you don't need it anymore, okay? She couldn't see how. She couldn't see now. Everything looked like a blur of watercolors. She clutched the charm in her fist and brought it to her chest.
Joey, I think I feel like crying now.
She choked out the first 2 sobs before Joe pulled her in. Tess clenched his jumpsuit and cried into it. No one seemed to pay them any mind. And we'll have to find out what Amber is up to next time. Next time?
Next time.
Next time. Bitch.
Smash that like, comment and subscribe.